People who have been following me for the past few months or so on YouTube will probably know that Franklin the Turtle is one of my favourite comfort series. I like reading the books by Paulette Bourgeois, absolutely adore the TV series by Nelvana with its messages and characters. The specials are all varying degrees of greatness, and even the 2010 reboot is decent, even if not as good or as timeless as the 97 series. So I figured for my 80th movie, I'd go for watching a movie based on something special to me, and the immediate thought to my mind was Franklin. And holy crap, I actually think this movie is better than it has any right to be. The story goes something like this. Franklin's granny suddenly falls sick during a visit from Aunt Lucy, Franklin's aunt who is an archaeologist. So in order to help Granny to get better, it's up to Franklin, his friends Bear, Beaver and Snail, as well as Aunt Lucy and her goddaughter Sam, who coincidentally has the same name as Franklin's toy dog, to go off and find the treasure from Turtle Lake, Granny's old home, in hopes of curing her. Now this story sounds like a simple one of a quest to find the hidden item to help our heroes, and in a way it sort of is. But what makes this one pretty interesting is that, well, it features Franklin the Turtle, and one of the things you wouldn't expect to describe something related to him is surprisingly dark. This movie isn't afraid to go deep into a darker tone in moments, and I love that the movie does this. Granny's home going on fire, Granny's parents dying, Granny getting sick and could potentially die herself, poor Granny. Moments with the characters being in real peril, like when Franklin and Sam were trying to save Snail. It makes this movie a pretty special one in the Franklin series, especially with the kind of twists and turns it can take. I'm glad that it isn't afraid to follow in the footsteps of Disney, which is just because something is made for kids, it doesn't mean it has to be all sugar-coated. Now don't get me wrong, none of the Franklin movies or specials were sugar-coated. Like, I know Franklin and the Green Knight could get pretty dark, but Franklin and the Turtle Lake Treasure definitely goes farther, which is especially interesting and nail-biting. The animation in this movie, I'm not gonna lie, it looks gorgeous. This pretty much takes the animation seen in the television series and cranks it up to 11. They sure did put their all in the animation to make it look like it belongs in a cinematic environment. From what I've read, they've hired ex-Disney animators to work on the animation, and boy does it show. The art style looks unique and lovely to look at, and being hand-drawn definitely helps it a lot. The background and character designs are luscious, the colours are vibrant, the movements aren't too stiff and feel natural, and the lighting is great and fits the setting of spring. There are also some very rare CG moments in this movie, mainly on the talisman from Old Turtle, and I think they look pretty cool and fit the style of the hand-drawn animation really well. Also, whenever the movie goes into night shots, it gives off a nostalgic vibe, almost like seeing the night shots in My Neighbor Totoro. If I had to make a minor complaint, I would say that I do wish the pictures on Granny's wall were redone in the style of the movie, rather than the style of the show. Nothing wrong with the style of the show at all, I'm just saying it kinda clashes is all. I remember saying in my last Movie Shack episode that a movie based on a cartoon should try to have animation better than the cartoon it's based on, to justify its cinematic venture. And I can confirm the animation fits for a cinematic experience. One final thing to note on the animation is that it's the first Franklin piece of media to be made in widescreen, so it's really neat to see Franklin with more screen real estate. Now on to the characters. This will be discussing both the characters from the show and the movie exclusive characters. The returning characters, being the Turtles, Bear, Beaver and Snail, are here and pretty much act the same as they do normally. A mild nitpick of mine is that I do wish we got to see more of Franklin's friends like Fox, Goose, Rabbit, etc. But with the cast here, it's a good balance between the old and the new, so it's fine. Franklin in this movie is what you'd expect from him normally. A kid who sometimes could act a little bratty, but has a lot of heart deep down, and does genuinely put friends, family and other people over possessions, even passing up getting a talisman from Old Turtle so that she could survive herself. And I love the chemistry he has with his granny. It reminds me of the relationship I had with my grandparents. Though honestly, I think it would be interesting to talk about the new characters too. Aunt Lucy is Franklin's aunt, who is an archaeologist and collects treasures and artifacts. I really like this character, as I felt like she was an adventurous and fun type, and I really wish she returned in Franklin the media since. There's also Lucy's goddaughter, Samantha, or Sam for short. I feel like she was an interesting character. When she was first introduced, she was shown to be of the mischievous type, as well as having a snarky personality, and not having a very good relationship between her and Franklin. Kind of having a similar relationship to Ben and Gwen from Ben 10. However, as the movie progresses, she does develop her character to be nicer, and their friendship does get stronger. And I actually kind of like seeing the two of them on screen in a way, even if Bear is pretty jealous of that. There are also a few new characters who advance the plot, like Old Turtle, who tells them clues about the location of Granny's time capsule, Little Crow, and mischievous, well, Little Crow, who takes Snail but only really to play with him, and Grizzly, who is a big bear with a lot of stuff in his shack. I think they were interesting, but not my super favorites. This one will be a little quick, but I do think the voice acting is also good. A lot of the voices from the series return, including the then current voice of Bear, Beaver, and Snail, as well as the voice of the Turtles. Although Franklin has been recast from season 6 of the series, they hired Cameron Ansel to voice Franklin in this movie. And while I think his voice is good, I don't think it's quite as good as the voice of Noah Reid, or even Cole Kaplan from season 6. I thought Shauna Black did a pretty good job of voicing Aunt Lucy, giving her a lot of adventurous energy, and Taja Eison's voice as Samantha was a little snarky, but I thought it made the character interesting. I do think a small issue with the voice acting would be that sometimes the voice clips could get cut off a little early. Not too early to the point of having an unfinished sentence, but it is somewhat noticeable when watching with headphones. Overall, this movie is absolutely great for people that love Canada's Testadine, or for people that simply want to have a feel-good journey with their family. It looks beautiful, the story, while it is pretty simple, the way we go with the story is great, the characters are all well developed, and I just think that this is a very satisfying movie. It does have a few flaws, sure, but I definitely consider this the best of the Franklin movies and specials. If you got time on your hands, definitely check this one out. You don't even need to buy the DVD. The movie itself is available for free on Treehouse Direct's YouTube page. And honestly, I think it's a very satisfying way to end off the near decade-long run of the original Nelvana Franklin series. So with that, I say thank you, Nelvana.